Welcome back to the 1090 podcast, where life is full of terrible stuff, and then you figure out what you want to do about it.
Yep.
I think that's how the intro goes. I'm in Kansas City with Kuri Bolger, and we went to the Kansas City Chiefs game last night it was me, my brother Sage, and you. Thoughts on the Chiefs game, being a Chief diehard fan?
I think the refs really screwed us. But
Did they?
Yeah. But also, we didn't play, like, the best. We had some mistakes.
I've been watching football since I was a kid. I've never seen a double pass like that.
No.
It was the craziest play I've ever seen in my life, and it never got to happen because of the flag.
Yeah, they called it off. They did have one a couple weeks ago that was, like, 4 different passes.
Yeah.
Which was cool. They like all those trick passes.
I was worried about you. You were screaming so loud at the game. I'm like, I don't think she's going to be able to do a podcast tomorrow.
Yeah, it was pretty loud.
Yeah, you were getting into it.
I was.
The Chief fans, I love the banter, like the Bills fans and the Chief fans. That was almost more entertaining for me than the actual game.
Yeah.
It was great. And a lot of the things that they were said probably can't really repeat because just peppered with F-bombs and all sorts of weird stuff. But it was the atmosphere was so fun. So we had fun, and then it was great. I mean, your story is so brutal. And I guess this is the intro, and I think a big part of the intro should just tell the listeners, like, this is not going to be an easy one. And listen, we've had hard podcasts on our podcast before. But this is like Jeff Olson status. Like Jeff Olson in 1997, he lost wife and a kid in a car accident. He fell asleep at the wheel.
Oh, God.
And it kind of reminds me of you because he also had a near-death experience. He got split in half by the seatbelt. He had like a DMT dump. Dang. Like he was seeing, we did that podcast. Craig Lithgow, my buddy Craig in Australia. His story is pretty brutal, and then your story, and it's. I always tell our listeners, like, an important part of grief, I think, is you don't compare it. Like, it's just
can't compare it.
Yeah, it's just terrible for everyone.
It is.
So you can't do the comparison thing, but then at the same time, like, I think your story is the worst story. And I'm sorry. There's so many similarities with our stories too, like with Brysen and with Blue. And we're going to dive into it. But in the intro, I just wanted to tell everyone, like, make sure you're in a good place for this one. Like, this is going to be hard.
It's pretty dark.
It's pretty dark. And Kuri, just thanks for coming on and being willing to talk. I think you can help a lot of people. So we'll get into it. Oh my gosh. Hold on. Our intro's not done.
Okay.
Back to the intro.
Okay.
Or after intro. Ryan Garner. So they have a Roadcaster too, just like us. And Ryan, look, we can make these sound effects. So, like, okay, watch this. The Chiefs game last night.
So good.
That was me. I made that sound. Or like when I make a funny joke. How odd. I think Ryan knew about this, but didn't show me because he knew there would be no 1090 podcast anymore. I just go off the rails. I'm like a little kid. I don't even know what this one does. Just some rock and roll. It's too good. Okay, back to the very dark podcast that we have. Okay, Ryan, good luck editing that. I do want those sound effects in the intro somewhere, though.
Yeah, those are great.
Life's 10% what happens to you and 90% what you're going to do about it.
Okay, welcome back to the 1090 podcast. Life's 10% what happens to you and 90% what you're going to do about it. I'm here with Kuri Bolger. Before we start, like, main event with the family and the tornado, I do think, let's mention, can we just mention your dad real quick at 9 years old, and then we'll get into when you meet Mike and have the family.
Yeah. So I lost my dad a month before I turned 9. He passed away in his sleep. And so my mom, like, I saw a lot of strength in her just raising us 3 kids. So I think a lot of the strength that I have now, like, I've pulled from her.
Yeah.
I've seen it firsthand, so.
Yeah, I don't, and I just think this is an important part to understand because your story gets much worse later, but, like, I'm just trying to paint the picture of who you are as a person because just being with you in Kansas City and just hanging out with you for one day at that football game, like, you wouldn't guess, like, oh, this lady lost her dad when she was 9, and then much other stuff after that. But, like, you just carry yourself with so much, I don't even know what the word is, but, like, confidence and joy maybe. Like, you really enjoy life still. But, like, your life has been very dark and hard from very young age, even at the age of 9, losing your dad. I couldn't imagine losing my dad at 9. I don't know how I'd do that one at all. So you lose your dad at 9. You have your mom. She kind of becomes your
Everything.
Yeah. And then you meet Mike. Can you tell us about Mike real quick? And then maybe you guys have kids.
Yeah.
And then set us up for the tornado.
So I met Mike when I was working at a restaurant, and he came to work there for a bit.
What restaurant?
Salty Iguana.
Oh, that's just a Kansas City.
It's like a good, a Mexican place. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And so I trained him. I was like, oh, this guy's kind of cool. So we started hanging out. And then years later, we ended up having Brysen. And then Brysen was in our wedding. So that was really cool.
And Brysen was your first born kid, right?
Yeah.
And Bryson's a man, by the way.
Yeah.
Got to meet him yesterday.
Yeah, he's a little man. Like, he's way beyond his years.
Yeah, and he was driving because we went to go get dinner. And he's like, you guys are from Utah? And we're like, yeah. And then literally every store we passed.
Do you have this
in Utah? Yeah. Do you guys have a Walgreens in Utah? Do you have Walmart in Utah? I'm like, listen.
He's like, do you have CVS? Do you have KFC?
Like, listen, Brysen, we have everything you guys have, but instead of the Chiefs, we have Mormons. That's it.
We have Mormons.
And we have mountains. Other than that, it's the same, dude. Anyway, okay, so you're training Mike. You're at the Mexican restaurant.
Yep.
And then you have Brysen.
And then we had Brysen.
And then you have Brysen.
Yep. And then we got married. And then we decided we wanted to have our kids 3 years apart.
Yeah, that's
like,
kind of what me and Courtney were trying to do.
Yeah.
2 years apart for us, but yeah, that's a good idea.
Just a good age difference.
How many kids did you guys want to have?
I wanted to have 5.
Dang.
He was like good with 2, and then he's like, being a dad's fun. Like, I really enjoy it. So then we had Owen. And Owen had some heart issues when he was born, but nobody knew. And at 11 days old, I was like, something is off. Like, I'm having to wake him up to feed him. Something's just not right.
Yeah.
So I took him to his pediatrician, and they're like, no, he's good. Like, babies they're all different. And I was like, no, something's off. So I took him to the emergency room at Children's Mercy, and they did some chest x-rays, and there was fluid on his lungs, and his heart was enlarged. So he had a coarctation of the aorta, which is like a garden hose being cinched off. So at 11 days old, they had to do heart surgery on him.
Yeah.
And that was terrifying. But he made it, and he was so strong. And seeing him at 2 years old, like, you would never have guessed that he went through that.
I did not know that. Mm-hmm. It's just one. See, life doesn't care. Like, it will just give you a hardship, and like it will give you another one. It doesn't keep score.
No.
It doesn't know. It doesn't care. I did not know that about Owen. Mm-hmm. So his first few, it was a rough go for Owen.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you have Kinlee, right?
Kinlee.
Yes. Sorry. You have the cutest names for your kids.
Thank you. So Kinlee's name was Kinlee. The Lee was my dad's middle name.
Oh, wow.
Lee
well played.
So I was like, ooh, Kinlee.
Kinlee.
And then it was Kinlee June. And June was Mike's grandma's middle name.
Yeah.
So special.
And so she was the baby of the family.
She was the middle child.
She was the middle.
Yeah.
Man, am I like... Man.
It's okay.
Are you as bad as me with this stuff? Like,
yeah. I think more so now. Like...
my brain, it doesn't work good.
No. Mine doesn't
It's not like I'm not listening. It's just, there's nowhere for it to go.
No, there's no space left. I'm like, I can't put more in there.
Why is that, you think?
I think we've just had a lot happen. And so maybe our brain like protects us and keeps stuff out. I don't know.
And here's I was going to say this in the intro, but of course I forgot. And thank God, like, I don't plan anything. Like, imagine if I plan to say anything, I'd just forget half of it anyway. That's the blessing of not planning anything. Mm-hmm. You talk about incredible stuff.
Yeah.
The bad side is you forget to say a lot of the things you plan to say.
Yeah.
Because, like, laying in bed, like, I should ask that. I'm going to talk about this. And then after it's done, like, I didn't get to any of that.
I have to write it down. If I don't, it's not going to happen.
And now talking about it this long, I don't even originally know what we were originally talking about. Okay, but let me ask you this.
Yes.
Just the struggle to, like, focus and keep information. And I was going to say this in the intro. And you blow me away because Craig, who I just mentioned in the intro, and, like, those guys, that was 20 years ago. This happened, I mean, we haven't even gotten to the main event yet with your family. That was like what they went through with this tornado, but it was just under 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And so, like, you probably just experienced, like, because you have this wave of help from the community. Like, everyone feels bad for you, everyone wants to help, but now they've probably all just left you, huh?
Well, I mean, I still have those ones that are just
Here and there.
just there, always there.
Yeah, I just, like, honestly, like, a hero of mine. Like, if the people ask you, like, if you could go to lunch with anyone, like, it might be you. Mm-hmm. Because I don't get how well you're doing. I'm almost mad I met you because now I'm analyzing myself.
You can't do that, though.
I am, though. And you're right, but that's just how I work. But now I'm like, I need to be doing much better. Because look at this person.
Well, maybe I can push you to do better.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm saying. That's what's happening.
Good.
But, okay, let's get to this.
Okay,
let's just get through this story, and then we can talk. And I have a bunch of questions for you.
Okay.
But it is nice to know that, like, my brain sucks, and I'm not alone in that. Like, it's just not good, man.
Yep.
All right, here we go. Okay, so you have met Mike.
Yep.
You have 3 beautiful kids.
Yep.
All right, here we go.
Life was going great, like absolutely great. He had just started working out with me and getting really healthy, and like life was perfect. And I'm happy that it ended on a good note versus, we were upset with each other. Things weren't great, and it ended there. Like, it ended when we were in a really good place. Mm-hmm. I'm thankful for that.
I had that too, and I remember even telling my dad, like, Dad, I think I'm the happiest guy in the world. He's like, I'm glad you think that. Like, he's happy for me. Mm-hmm. Like, I said that because I had Courtney, kids, my dream job. I just landed my dream job as a basketball trainer. And, like, a lot of stories are like that people I have on.
Yeah.
Even the day of or day before the terrible accident, usually really great times.
Yeah.
Some of the best days of their lives. Like, I had the Graphs on. They went hiking, and 2 of their little girls got ripped out from their arms, flash flood, drowned to death.
Oh, my God.
And, like, the day, like, she wrote a book on it, really good book. But the day before, just, like, this beautiful day, great hike. Anyway, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. It makes me actually, like, want to sabotage parts of my own life. Because if it's going so well, I'm like, some shit's going to happen.
Yes, I get that all the time.
So,
like, phone rings, like, this is it. Mm-hmm. This is the call. Mm-hmm. It's over again. Just waiting for it to happen.
But you can't live like that.
Yeah.
It's like tormenting yourself.
Yeah. Okay, so you're happy. You got it all.
Yep. Then we went up to my parents' house for the weekend. And I've talked to Brysen a lot about, like, the way up, the drive up, the day before, and, like, things that he remembers that I don't remember. Because when he went to therapy, his therapist typed out everything that he said that led up to the tornado. And just the little things that he remembers, like, I don't know. It brought some happiness to me that he remembers, like, good things, you know. It's not all bad. So anyway, we drove up. We took the kids out of school on Friday and went up so we'd have, like, a little bit longer of a weekend. So Friday, we, like, hiked in the woods there, just hung out as a family, played games that night after the kids went to bed. And then the next morning, we woke up. I woke my mom up early, and we did a workout together. And then Mike and my stepdad, Raymond, were cooking breakfast when we came down. And so we all ate, and then my mom and I were playing a game at the table, and Kinlee was just sitting in my lap. I think Owen and Brysen were playing Keep the Balloon Up.
I love that game.
Just around the house, just doing
Oh,
that.
my, don't get me started on Keep the Balloon Up with Riggins and Blue. Oh, my kids, they would... I was diving all over the place. They'd laugh so hard.
There's a game, like a TV show game. They're like
Keep
serious.
the Balloon Up.
Keep the Balloon Up.
It's a hell of a game.
It's crazy. But, so they were playing that, and then it had been raining off and on, and our plan was to go see the alpacas and feed them and do all that fun stuff. So we were, like, looking for a break in the rain, and we saw one, so we just, like, left everything where it was, went there, and then... I don't know. I think I always will have, like, regrets of certain things because we were leaving there. And I was like, I just have this feeling I want to go see my aunt's new house in Des Moines. And everybody else wanted to go back to the house and make lunch and just hang out. And, like, if I had just pushed harder, like, I'm a pusher. I think I want people to, like, do better and be happy with themselves. But anyway, so if I just pushed for that to happen, like, my family would probably still be here. But you can't go back and you can't change stuff, so.
I was planning on asking about survivor's guilt later after the story. But it's the worst. It's so bad. It's one of the worst things that I deal with.
Yeah. Me too.
What is the... And... I think it's one of, like, the trauma, you just think about it so much, you just think about it 24/7. I feel like you just naturally get to this thought of maybe it was my fault.
Yeah.
I literally think you just think about it so much, and it doesn't make any sense that it had to have been me.
Yeah, it's like, what did I do in my life?
What did I do?
To be punished, like, for them to be taken away, you know?
Yeah. And then there's another part of me like, but then it's like, well,
What if?
why didn't it happen to anyone else then?
Right.
Why did it happen? It must have been something I did. But then, like...
You're like, maybe I did deserve this.
Yeah, and I just think, like, I should have went with them, or I should have drove up right after my basketball tournament ended instead of just waiting for the... You just think about, I could have done this. And I didn't.
Again, we're just tormenting ourselves because you can't change.
The what-if game.
Yeah, you can't. That's the worst game.
Yeah.
But it happens.
What about, like, you have a good day, or maybe you're even happy, you feel bad?
Yeah. Sometimes.
Yeah. What do you do? What do you do about that?
I just put myself, like, in Mike's position. If I were the one that didn't make it and he was, I'd be so pissed at him if he just gave up or didn't enjoy life, because Brysen and I still have a life to live. And if we're not going to actually, like, fully live it, then, like, what's the point?
Yeah, I have that too. But then you also have that other person inside that's like, you're a piece of shit. You should
flick that person off. I'm like, go away.
Yeah, like, get out of here. Go over there.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, keep going.
Okay, so we get back to the house. Actually, no. We went to the grocery store before we went back to the house to get like some fun snacks and just little things to have because it was going to be raining, so we were going to be stuck inside. So we're like, let's get some fun snacks so we can play games and just enjoy the day. So then we got back to the house, and I believe Raymond and Mike were making lunch. And my mom and I were like, all right, well, like, there's severe weather warnings, like, could get bad, but probably not. Like, I don't know, in the Midwest, you take cover plenty of times. Yeah. Nothing ever comes of it. And then...
Yeah.
So we found, like, the safest place that we thought. Like, they always tell you, like, the middle of the house. You know, under the big staircase. Like, it's a strong staircase that should hold up if something were to happen. But with an EF4 tornado, like, nothing is strong enough to keep you safe unless you're in a basement or a shelter. So, I just remember, like, the kids were in there with me. My mom was in there, and we were all just talking and playing, like, keeping them calm. And then Mike and Seth was in there. Mike and Raymond were out in the living room. And I just hear Mike say, oh, my God, there's a tornado. Like, he saw the trees. Him and Raymond saw the trees just start flying up out of the ground. Like, big trees.
Yeah.
And so I guess they just, like, kind of jumped in.
This was, like, this was a big-time tornado. Like, in the report that I read, or the story about your family, it was, like, level 4 or...
Yeah. So there's 5.
Yeah, like this.
That it can be, and it was a 4.
And it was right on you guys.
Yeah, it started in the field next to my parents' house. So it was just dropped, and it was there. And it was a wedge tornado. So it wasn't like one of those ones you see in Twister that's like a long funnel thing. Like, it was massive, and it just looked like a big storm coming.
Yeah.
But it was actually a tornado. And so I just remember the pressure in my ears. Like, I didn't hear anything. If I did, I don't remember it. I just remember the pressure. It was like a massive amount of pressure in your ears. And then there was like 4 shifts. And then it was like quiet.
What do you mean? What do you mean shift?
Like, you could just feel yourself move.
Like the whole, just your body, or
just our bodies. Like, I think because we were in such a tight space and it just ripped the front off. Like, everybody was like down in this hole from what I saw in pictures of where they got us out. So there was stuff on top of us, just around us. And when we, like, landed, I guess, you could just hear, like, everybody, like, crying or moaning, or you just didn't hear them at all. Kinlee was stuck between my legs, and I could not pull her out. And she wasn't moving at all. And then Owen was, like, just beyond my reach, but all I could see was his face. And his eyes were shut, and I think his, like, lip was cut, maybe. My mom was behind my back, and her arm was over my left shoulder with her phone in it. And she said, use my phone and, like, call 911. And my left arm was stuck under, I think it was a grandfather clock. Like, there was something on top of it. Where I just kept trying to pull it out, and I couldn't pull it out. And I think it's because of my watch band. Like, it was stuck. But it was also, like, being compressed, so I don't know. So I'm, like, using my nose on her phone to call, and they told me I called 44 times to try and get through. And my stepdad said, turn off the Wi-Fi. So, like, if you're ever somewhere and, like, you can't get a call out, like, turn the Wi-Fi off, and then you should be able to make a call. I didn't know that.
You guys are all stuck, basically, or if the ones that are still alive, but you're communicating, but you're being stuck. And
And the part that got me was I heard Mike crying, and then he said, "Oh my God, I'm gonna die." And I just said, like, "I love you. Like, please try and stay strong." And I didn't hear Brysen at first, and then when I did, he just kept asking why he couldn't hear Dad anymore. And I just told him, like, "It's okay, bud. Like, please just keep taking deep breaths and just try and relax." I had no idea where he was. I guess he was, like, underneath us all, but either, like, a wall or something had gone over him to keep him from being, like, smushed. And then at one point, my mom, she just said, "I can't do it anymore." And I don't know if it was just her body just wanting to give up. Like, I don't know. But I could just feel her chest and stomach going back and forth with breaths. And then it just stopped. And I just held her hand because it was, like, right there. And then Owen, I thought he was gone, but then I just heard, like, this, like, it was almost like a baby noise, and then bubbles came out of his nose. And so I think that was, like, his last breath. We just fucked up.
I'm so sorry. What, are you, like, just shock?
Yeah.
Getting you through this right now? Just complete shock. When, like, how long are you sitting in this? Are you good to keep going? Do you want to take a break?
No, maybe like a tissue. Are there tissues? No, it's good to talk about it because otherwise I just think about these things all the time. And keeping things in, like, that doesn't help you. You have to get them out.
No, I agree. That's why I started a podcast. I don't know what to say. Except sorry. How long are you sitting in this wreck rubble until you guys get pulled out?
The tornado happened just after 4 p.m. And I believe the timestamp of them pulling me out, which they pulled Owen and Kinlee out first, and I just closed my eyes when they pulled them out because I didn't know what I would see. And then they put a strap under my arm to try and, like, pull me up, but they were going to, like, pull my arm off. Like, they were pulling that hard until they realized they needed to get more stuff off over here to get my arm out to be able to pull me up. And I have, like, the body cam footage of them pulling me out. You can't see anything. You're just going to hear. You
sent me some. I asked about, can I get some information about your story? And I started watching it, and I think I watched it for 5 seconds. And I'm like, I can't.
Yeah.
I can't watch this. Not even my family, so I can't imagine.
I watched it just because I had so many questions, and I was just curious. I just had friends sit with me that were okay with hearing whatever.
And just watched it. So I'm sorry. So how many hours were you guys stuck, you think, though?
So after Owen and Kinlee, then I was the next out, and I believe it was like 6:30, 6:45. So almost 3 hours. And then Brysen didn't get out for like another hour or maybe more because I knew everybody was gone. Like, I just already knew. But I knew that Brysen was safe when I got pulled out, and I needed to know when he got out. So I remember the ambulance ride to Des Moines. That's when I finally felt all the pain. Physical pain.
Yeah, like, we haven't even talked about the physical, like, just so you're there you're stuck in this rubble for 3 hours, and you guys are just so you go into the pantry closet with 8 people, right? Your family, and then who are the other 4?
My mom.
Your mom.
Well, so there's 5 of us. So
There's 5 of you.
Mike and I, and then our 3 kids,
Uh-huh.
and then my mom, my stepdad Raymond, and my little brother Seth.
Yeah. And so for 3 hours, you guys are able to communicate? Or what do you got? I'm just trying, like, do you not even remember the 3 hours? Did it go by extremely slow? Was it extremely, like...
It felt like it took forever.
I
didn't think we were
so.
getting help. I thought I was going to die, and I was fully
You thought
conscious.
everyone was going to die?
Yeah.
You don't have any physical pain, though, for those 3 hours?
No.
So weird to me. Because I had this guy, Matt Blanchard, on. He got paralyzed twice. And he said, yeah, both times, like, I was just sitting for the ambulance to come get me. No pain. I was just sitting there.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell?
It's weird.
So are you able to talk to Brysen for over this time?
Yeah.
So what is a mother doing with her son in this situation?
So I couldn't see him. I didn't know where he was, but he sounded okay.
Okay.
He said his leg was stuck, and I didn't know, what that meant. So I was just trying to keep him calm and stay positive for him. Seth was next to me. He was getting frustrated because he didn't know what was going on. So I was trying to keep him calm.
And Seth, he has
Down syndrome.
He has Down syndrome. So
he's trying to hold my mom's hand and talk to her, and I just kept talking to him and saying it's going to be okay, like they're going to come help us. But never did I mention to him like that anybody wasn't going to make it. I didn't want to scare him.
Yeah.
They're already terrified in there.
You need like a Purple Heart or something.
No.
Like, seriously.
I couldn't save my kids.
Yeah.
All the people that came and helped get us out, I got to meet a lot of them after the fact. I also got to talk to the nurses that had Kinlee and Owen, and they kept them together. And then they had my mom and Mike and kept them together as well. Some of the nurses couldn't make it to meet us. Like, it was just too hard for them. Like, I can't imagine what they had to go through.
Like, so much sympathy from you, though. Like, thinking about other people.
Oh, my God. Like,
worrying about your own dead kids. Like, yeah.
I can't imagine having to do what they did.
Those people in that job, those first responders, like,
They're the heroes.
if there's a heaven, like, they're top tier front, like, get them up there ASAP.
Yeah. For what they experience and they choose to do, to help other people. Like, it's incredible. I couldn't do that. I'm not strong enough to be able to do that.
Well, I don't know about that. I think you can do just about whatever. So I was talking to Sammy, my girlfriend, about you and coming over here. And I'm like, so I read her story and I'm with Blue. So I'm like, I read your story and then I just cry. So I run to my bathroom, I grab my towel, and I just scream and cry into my towel. That's like my go-to when I'm with Blue. I don't know if you do that, but like sometimes I don't want him to see me cry. Anyway, so I'm just crying about your story, and I get back out, read the next obituary or the next paragraph, and it just reminds me of so much with my own family. Mm-hmm. And it's like this, and Sammy, she asked me, she's like, or I don't know if she asked me, or I don't remember. We're talking about you, and I start talking about how I read your story, and part of me can't even relate to it. Like, I can't imagine losing spouse, 2 kids.
But you can.
And then there's another part of me that's like,
That did happen.
this is you. And then like sometimes like your kid, the pictures of your kids, I'd see Rig's face. Mm-hmm. And it was very vivid and real and PTSD for me. Mm-hmm. At the same time, it's like, it's such a weird thing because it's so much in common with Brysen surviving and Blue surviving, and then just how terrible it is in general. And then it's multiple families involved. Yeah. It's not just one family, like it's multiple families and the pain that causes. Yeah. And then from that conversation, I realized, I'm like, something I always say, and like I say this when I do public speaking, I say it to my buddies, I say it all the time. Like one of the best, that's a weird way to say it, but a blessing I have with my story is I wasn't there. Like, at least I didn't have to see him. At least I didn't have to hear him. At least, like, my PTSD, I think, is very minimal because of that. Like, I struggle with other things, but PTSD, like, not as bad as you. Like, not even in the same ballpark.
That's okay.
But then, like, when I'm in the bargaining phase, I would do anything to be in the car with him.
Yeah. Like, I'm begging for it. Like, okay, let's not even change the outcome. Please just let me go through it with him. Mm-hmm. I'd love to do it. And it really took me, for whatever reason, I didn't realize that those are 2 contradicting things. They both made perfect sense in my head. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, I'm glad I wasn't there. And then another guy's like, I wish I would do anything to be there. Yeah. And I'm just like, didn't realize that I'm not making any sense. Like, but I do think it's a bit of both. But I guess what I'm asking you is, as bad as it is to have been there for 3 hours and during, is there a part of you that was glad you were there with them through that? Yeah. Or
would you rather have been completely removed and got a phone call about it?
No. No, I'm glad I was there because I got to be with them when they came into this world and when they left too.
Yeah.
I was worried about like what I saw and how that would affect me. But talking about it, like just getting it out helps tremendously, no matter what it is. Just talking about what you're feeling. I feel like a lot of people just kind of hold it in because they're afraid to talk about it or
well, it hurts.
It hurts bad, but you gotta do hard things to keep moving forward.
Yeah, it's like it's why I love that buffalo analogy so much about heading into the storm. Mm-hmm. Like, I get it. It's scary. It sucks. It hurts, and you might even question like, why are we gonna get him back after we talk? No, then what the hell are we even talking about him for? Like, right. I get the frustration behind it, but yeah, if you keep talking about it, like the healing's in there. It is. It's in there. It's in the pain, but you got to be willing to go through that pain to get to the good parts about it. Brysen, man, and like other people survived, but Brysen hits home for me because he's a kid and Blue, and so I'm flying to Kansas City, and I'm just I'm thinking about you and Brysen, and I kind of have an idea of what Brysen might be like, and it's just totally not what I was imagining. I was picturing this timid, shy. I mean, just been through literal hell. Yeah,
you would not.
So I'm just kind of expecting like this timid, like, and he's just reminds me of my kid Blue, honestly, like just happy. I mean, it appears this way. I don't know the kid. I just met him for 4 hours. I don't know, but great kid though. Yeah. What can you just talk about just having a kid that survived that, what that's meant for you and what that's been like?
Well, it's definitely a blessing because without him, I don't think I would be where I am today. I mean,
you think like bottom of the river for you if no Brysen?
It's hard to tell. Like, I would never want to know. But yeah, I've had like a lot of dark thoughts.
Yeah. I think that too with Blue, but I'm like, you know what? if someone told me I was going to lose Court, Riggins, Frankie, Race, and Ryder, I would have said I'd be done too.
Yeah.
But here I am.
Right.
So maybe, but it's tough to.
I would say I would be somewhere else. Like, I'd probably still be here, but I wouldn't be where I am now.
You guys, how often you guys, maybe not talk about that day, but like, do you guys talk about them? Do you talk about the pain? Like, I'm just fascinated how you guys handle this thing day to day.
So we talk about them all the time, and like if we're missing, I mean, you're missing so many people. Like you can only, it's hard to grieve and miss all of them at the same time. Like they come in waves.
God. Like, can we talk about that for a quick second? Because I struggle with this so bad. Like I just spin from one to the next. Mm-hmm. You do that too.
Yeah. Like, and a lot of people are like, well, why are you only talking about your kids? Why aren't you talking about Mike or your mom? And I'm like, because I'm thinking about them right now.
Or like, I haven't gotten there yet, or just not like it. And it's kind of different. Mm-hmm. Like, it's different losing Race than it is my wife. Like, it's easier to talk about my brother for some reason. It just is. It's hard for me to talk about Courtney. Yeah. She's the hardest one to talk about. I'm not really sure, but I'm like you. I go through phases. There's some days and weeks I talk about her all the time, mm-hmm. and then others like it's more of a Frankie day or a Riggins week, or I don't know, like
or even just moments of the day.
Or like something like a kid wears a Catboy shirt, and you're like, oh, Riggins, like, and you're just on a little Riggins memory train for a little bit.
It's the same with pictures. Like there are days when I'm like going through all the pictures and I was like, hey, Brysen, you remember this time? Like, and he'll say something about the day of that picture and I'm like, man, your memory is awesome. Yeah. And then it makes me hope that he doesn't remember a lot of the
I'm like that too with the memory thing. I'm like, I want him to remember his mom and remember, but then like I don't want him to it's such like
there's so many
there's no like this is how you do it. No. Either. It's just like good luck with grief. It's just different for everyone all the time.
It is. Well, and I feel like it's going to forever be there, but you just have to learn to deal with it in different ways as life goes on.
Do you have like I have like weird guilt within my grief for all 5 of them? Back to how like I just go back and forth. Mm-hmm. Do you get that too?
Yeah.
Oh man, this just makes me feel good. Like there's someone else out there.
I know.
Like,
and there's probably more people out there.
There is. I keep finding them. Like,
which sucks. Like it sucks that you do keep finding them, but I feel like we can all help each other. And there was that one thing where we were talking about yesterday how like something will happen to somebody and they're like, well, I didn't come to you because it doesn't compare to what happened to you. But that was the hardest thing they went through. So the feelings are still there.
Yeah, like that's their level 4 tornado.
Yeah.
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 That's how I see it too.
So I'm like, just talk to me. Like, you know, maybe I have something I could say that could help you, or maybe you have something that could help me.
I do kind of feel like, okay, your loved one dies, you have the funeral, and then like maybe on their birthday or the death day, you can say something. But other than that, like, just kind of shut up. That's kind of how, like...
You feel like that?
That's kind of how I feel. And so I'm like, no, screw that. I'm going to start a podcast and keep talking about them.
Always.
But you think I'm wrong?
No, I don't think you're wrong.
No, with the culture, like, do I have that right? That's just kind of how I see it. Like, how we handle grief in our culture right now.
Yeah, well, I just talk about them all the time.
See, good for you.
If I'm feeling something, I'm going to talk about it because I fear that if I just hold stuff in, like, it's just going to build up and not be great.
Yeah.
So
I do wonder, like Jeff Olson and Craig, back to those guys that are 20 years removed from it. I do wonder, I just wonder what that's like. Do you think what's worse, year 1 or year 2?
2.
I do too.
100%.
100%.
Like year 1, everybody's there, everybody's helping, and then
there's so much shock still.
So much shock. Well, and I was on so much medication.
Oh my God, can we talk about that? We haven't even got to the physical because I didn't experience that, so I'm just not there. Mm-hmm. But you got fucked up too in this thing. Yeah. So yeah, give us a run. Like, you broke your pelvis, and then you had to re-break it, and then your arm, and yeah, what the hell?
I had no idea that, like, I felt like my leg was gone because I couldn't feel it, and it just didn't feel above it, didn't feel great. But there wasn't pain. It just felt like my leg was gone. It didn't hurt. Like, it was weird. So when they finally pulled me out, I remember being, like, passed down a line of people and then put on a board and then being put, like, on the back of a four-wheeler or something because they couldn't drive up the driveway because all the trees down. Mm-hmm. And then they got me out to the ambulance. And when I got the playback of them pulling me out and just hearing what noises were coming from me, like, I had no idea. I had no idea that I was in pain, like, not just physical pain, but emotional pain and being pulled out. And
yeah, when so I got the news about my family, and so I had to make some phone calls. And apparently my niece, Faith, so she just lost her dad and brother, and then aunt, anyway, Faith. She said, she's like, I have a voice message from you, day of. You called me, and I didn't answer. And I have a voicemail of you just screaming, making awful noises. And I had no recollection of it. Mm-mm. And I didn't listen to it. Like, I don't want to hear that. But, yeah, like, I wonder how many moments like that I don't even remember.
Yeah.
Because I had no recollection of that one. And I think you're that way too. Like, and I think that's what happened to you when you saw that video. Like, I don't even remember that at all.
No.
And the funeral is like that with me too.
Yeah.
Like, I remember spots, but I can't put the day together.
No.
And I remember leaving the funeral like, that's literally the funeral. That was the end of time for me. It was like, what now?
Yeah, what's next?
We did the funeral, so it's all like, can I be done? Like, what are we? I don't know where to go. Sorry, back to your story though. So you're watching that video and you don't even remember it.
Yeah, I don't remember it. I do remember being in the ambulance and just the physical pain was so intense that they had to keep calling the hospital and saying, "Can we give her more medicine?"
Yeah, give her whatever she needs.
Yeah, and I think they just kept giving me stuff until we got to the hospital. And then I remember going in for different scans, and I just kept saying, I need to know when Brysen's out. Like, somebody just please figure it out. Come tell me he's out, he's safe, he's good, he's alive. And so I remember, I think it was like a CAT scan. I don't know, some lady was pregnant next to me. It was a nurse, and she was holding the IV pole because the pole was, like, broken, and it, like, tilted a little bit, and I thought it was falling on me. Like, I freaked out, and I don't know if that was just everything that had just happened, like, but then the chaplain came in on my right, and he was like, Brysen's out, he's safe, he's good, he's asking about you. And from that point until, I don't know, a few days later, like, I don't remember anything.
So, do you think your mind just does that to just protect you, right? Like, it's just a defense mechanism.
It is.
So you get to the hospital, how long? Because, like, a big part of, like, mental health and dealing with grief and trauma is physical movement.
Yeah.
Like, you need to move. Yeah. Go exercise. And that's something, man, like, looking back, my first few months, I didn't move at all. Yeah. I was on the couch in my bed, and I should have just walk, like, go walk.
It's hard to do, though.
It is, but, like, it help. My point is, it just helps so much, and you couldn't even move. So now you have all the death in that, and now you can't even physically move.
Yeah.
But did you even want to even try? Were you just dead inside, like zombie mode?
I was still just terrified of what I saw, and just knowing that, like, my people were gone. I had no idea, like, I knew I had Brysen to take care of, so I knew I had to get to where I could go home so I could take care of him. Like, that was my goal right in that moment. Like, I need to talk about what I saw because I'm scared of it.
Why do you... Losing your dad at 9... Like, why'd you have such this courageous... Because I came to that realization, too. Mm-hmm. Like, what you just said. But it was a year later before I even had those thoughts. You're, like, in the hospital with this mindset. Mm-hmm. Is it because of losing your dad at 9? Why did you have such this... Why are you the way you are? That's what I'm trying to ask.
I don't know. I think... Well, I definitely know my mom has a lot to do with it. Mike has a lot to do with it. Like, when things would go south, Mike especially was like, this is what it is. Like, we can choose to deal with it in so many different ways. But if you want to deal with it in a positive way and find those little positive things, no matter what it is, life's going to be so much better.
Mike's the man.
Dude, he's smart. He was a talker, too. Like, he talked to anybody and everybody. So his, like, knowledge of so many things, it was just incredible. And I'm happy that he taught me some of the stuff he did because I'm still learning how to do half the stuff at the house. Like, fixing things wise.
Losing Courtney.
Yeah, what did you have to learn?
I'm not, like... Didn't realize all the things she did for me.
Yeah.
I had a buddy, I was looking for a house, and he's like, what's your credit score? I'm like, I don't know what that is. Mm-hmm. 17. I don't know. 17. Never, I don't know. I don't know how to do taxes.
You didn't even know what, no?
No, I never did. I worked my ass off, and I played with the kids, and I just hanged out with Court. I was a little kid. Courtney took care of four kids, basically.
Yeah.
And, like, losing her, like, not just, like, the emotional, sad, grieving part, and the anger that she was taking because she's just the best person. So you have that going on. But then, like, the day-to-day, like, I didn't realize all the things she did for me until she was gone. Mm-hmm. And it's just to hear you go through that same thing with Mike. Yeah. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Like, you're 90%. Well, can I read a quote?
Please. I like quotes.
I love stoicism. I got a stoic quote here. Let's see if I can find it. I promise I prepped with, like, all this stuff, and then it all goes out the window. I never end up doing it.
It's okay. Sometimes it works better if you just kind of go with it.
Yeah, that's it. That's totally... Well, I'm just going to try to say it.
Okay.
Don't
mess it up. Just kidding.
I think Epictetus said this one. But it's to the effect of, men are not haunted by what happens to them. They're haunted by their perception of what happens to them. Mm-hmm. So it's not about what happens to you. It's the 1090 quote, basically. It's not about what happens to you. It's, your reaction to it.
Yep.
And I'm just blown away with you. You've had the worst thing happen. And you're there. And your physical body gets messed up. Mm-hmm. And you lost your dad when you were 9. Mm-hmm. Like that, you could have been on the podcast with that alone. Like, that was enough. And this whole thing. How do you see this thing? How do you explain this to Brysen, or like, help me.
Just explain.
Like, what's your perception of this terrible accident with your family? How do you make it? How do you function? What are you doing with this thing?
That's a good question. Some days I'm doing nothing with it. Like, I just can't. I don't want to.
Man, you're so honest. I love it.
Well, and then other days I'm like, I got this. Like, I am so strong today, and I'm confident. Yeah, I got this. I can do this. And maybe midday I'm like, I don't got this anymore.
Yeah.
But most days, like, when I feel like that, I just go with it. Try and help other people where I can. I don't know. I just feel like my purpose is to help others with whatever they've gone through. Even if it's something that they think is like little, but it hurts really bad. Like, that's the same pain that I feel for what happened to me. I just think that's so important, like, for people to not compare, but just to talk about their feelings and be kind and just, I don't know, be cool people. And forgive yourself, forgive others. Like, there's just so much that goes into it.
Why not, like, fuck everything, burn it to the ground?
Because, like, I don't know. You're on this planet for a reason. You're not here for long. So there's so much more joy in, like, being kind and loving others and helping others than just, like, having a pity party all the time. Yeah. I do have those, but I try to make them less and less.
Yeah, it's like you can, I think we were talking about this yesterday. I can put a couple good days together, but then I just need a day or maybe just half a day to, like, be miserable and cry and be mad. Mm-hmm. And then, like, we'll keep going. Helping other people. I've interviewed a lot of people, mm-hmm. and every time we get to their 90%, that's mentioned. Why do you think that is?
I think, well, I'd say one reason is just, like, so many people helped us through all of this, and just knowing the feeling that comes with that.
Like paying it forward.
Yeah. But, like, helping other people not only helps other people, but it also helps yourself. Like, it feels good to help other people.
Yeah.
And also, another thing I learned through this is, like, it was really hard to accept help. But when you're accepting help, like, you're also helping them because they feel good for helping. You know, like, accept that help. Just be thankful for it. And then help somebody else out along the way.
Yeah, like, this guy from Utah wants me to be on his podcast. I don't want to do it, but he'll probably appreciate if I do it. So
I was like, I bet we can relate, you know, on so many levels, on so many things. And, like, some stuff you've already said has helped me, and hopefully I'll help you, you know, in some way.
No, everyone I interview, I get something from. That's why I love it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And there's so many things I've learned. And I think one of the things I've just learned is, everyone is hurting.
Yeah.
Everyone's going through grief.
Yeah. Mason,
not just you. Like, where you been? Welcome to life.
Yeah.
Because grief, everyone's going through it. And if you're not, you will. Someone close to you is going to die.
Yeah.
And then that's, like, the real beginning of life. I don't even remember what I worried about before the accident now. I can't even.
Smallest little things.
Yeah, I don't even know how I had the energy to worry about what I worried about.
Right? I feel like I have more energy now, actually, because I think you just have to. Like, that discipline kicks in and it's like, these are the things you have to get done, so you don't have anybody to lean on right now. Like, you have yourself. So get your ass up and get them done.
So I'm sure there's more things that you could talk about, but just in this little interview we've done, we know you lost your dad when you were 9. Owen, you had that struggle with him as a baby, and then the tornado. Mm-hmm. How do you, and you talked about this earlier, but like this mindset, how do you just not terrified of the next absolute thing happening tomorrow? How do you have, or are you just kind of expecting it and we'll just deal with it when it comes?
Yeah, just kind of deal with it when it comes, but also, like, if you're always fearful. This is, like, a realization that I've come to recently. Like, if you're always fearful of something bad happening, like, you're not actually living.
Yeah, it already has you.
It takes it away from you.
It already has you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
And I think, like, okay, this metaphor with buffalo and cows. Like, cows run away from it, buffalo run into it. Like, buffalo, like, you can get fucked up by the storm. Mm-hmm. Like, you can lose. Mm-hmm. It's not like the mindset of the buffalo guarantees you success at all. Yeah, it doesn't. Mm-hmm. Like, you could get wiped out like the cow. And then we sit here like, oh, it didn't matter. Like, okay. But I think this is what I'm getting at, asking you, like, why not just be terrified of the next bad thing that's going to happen, or just deal with it when it happens? But I think the metaphor of the buffalo is like, It's just the mindset of a buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
That's winning at life.
Yeah.
That's what you have control over.
It's not the outcome.
Not
It's
the
how
outcome.
you deal with it now.
Yeah, because, okay, buffalo runs into the storm, gets fucked up. Cow runs away. Let's say the cow is able to outrun it. It was a small enough storm, he's able to outrun it. So it could look weird. Like, the buffalo's like, what the hell? Should have been the cow. But no, like, because another storm is coming.
Yeah.
So who you really are, that's really, it's not the storm. It's whatever. The storm's whatever, big or small. But I think, like, if you're a buffalo, you are almost expecting or wanting the storm. Like, it, and that's where, in a way, it gets less scary and more doable. Is you've already made the decision. I'm going into this thing. And it might not work out. But I ain't running away because 100% sure if I run away, it's going to go shitty.
Yeah.
You might as well give yourself a chance
Yeah.
and go into it.
You have to give yourself
And
a
that's what
chance.
I love about you is like, yeah, something bad will probably happen tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like, bring it on and we'll see what happens.
We'll deal with it.
What else do you want from me?
Right.
Yeah.
You can always run away from stuff, but it's going to eventually catch up to you. So, I don't know. But also, like, I think in both of our stories, like, there are people out there that struggle to, like, create families. And, like,
Yeah.
we were able to do that.
I've thought about this.
We were able to, like, have this huge amount of love and a family and the beautifulness that comes with it, even if for a short period of time. But I'd rather have that and feel like this now than to have never had that.
Yeah, very powerful. I've had that thought too, and I love the would you rather question. Would you rather have loved and lost or never loved at all?
Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously the answer is yeah, I'd rather have loved. Yeah, there's so many lonely people out there.
Yeah.
Like Michael Scott, lonely. Do you watch The Office at all?
Yeah.
Like there's Michael Scotts out there.
I got some funny stories about The Office, but not for this podcast.
No, Seinfeld and The Office and Metallica really have gotten me through some dark times.
And
For sure.
practical jokers for me.
Impractical. Yeah. What are some other like less like maybe less noble things that you do, but like more like what are some like
the little
funny
things?
day-to-day things? Like I love to laugh. Like I
Yes.
just like I'll make fun of you, you make fun of me. We'll just laugh
Yeah.
because life's kind of a joke anyway. I love laughing. Like
I love making people laugh.
yeah, like let's laugh
I also laugh at myself all the time.
all the time.
I was like, I think it's okay.
Yeah, you like if you're gonna dish it out, you gotta take it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Laughter is big for me.
That's why I like Impractical Jokers. I've seriously seen every episode multiple times, but I just the funniness of them and
So
like their
good.
banter and what they make each other do, and it's just great.
Yeah, that's a great. I love that show.
They've got me through a lot of dark times in life.
Yeah, and then music for me, I love
Music.
It's hard for me to listen to stuff like stay focused, but music, man, I love music.
Me too.
So I'm always have the headphones ready.
I've got different things playing in each room, like in the house, always. I don't like the quiet.
Yeah. What can I ask you about God or
Yeah.
what like how's this thing gonna end for you when you die? Do you think? Where are you going?
Well, I'm also hoping that in the rest of the life I have to live, like I can do some really cool things, and then they'll probably already know about them when I get there. But I'd like to just sit down and talk with them about, what we did.
Yeah.
We never gave up. Like, I just want to be able to tell them some cool stories.
Yeah. Do you ever? I've had this thought too. If Courtney's in heaven or if she's alive somewhere, like she's kicking ass.
Yeah.
Like she's doing something.
Yeah.
She's helping. Like she's doing something. She's not in bed.
No.
So and same with my brother and my kids. Like, so that gets me going too. Like if they're doing something, if they're alive in any way, shape, or form, like they're up and at it today. So I need to get going. It's weird how like Mike, Court, like the ones we've lost motivate us so much.
Yeah.
More than they ever did when they were alive, maybe.
Yep.
With Mike, well, sorry, did we finish with the afterlife thing? So you're heaven and stuff with,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to believe that there's somewhere where I'm going to see them again.
No, for sure.
That's just, everybody can believe what they want, but that's what I believe.
I think I'll see him again. I don't know what it will be like.
Where, how, or what it'll be like.
What?
But we'll get to see them again.
And maybe it's just wishful thinking and hope. But like,
if it keeps you going.
Yeah, but that's just like, you know how I asked you like what your day-to-day is like, some are good, some are bad. That's how I am with spirituality too. Like some days I'm hopeful, like I'll see him again and this will all make sense one day.
Yeah.
And then other days I'm like, this pain I feel is so bad. It doesn't feel like I'll see him again. Like I'll see him again in heaven. That's not what this feels like inside. This feels awful.
Well, I feel like at one point, I know I've gone through so many different scenarios with that. I'm like, what if we're currently living in hell?
Oh my God.
Have you felt like that?
I've said this all the time.
No shit.
I've said this all the time because I've had 2 other things happen in my family that like not good.
Yeah.
And I've had this, like we're crying, like I'm crying with my sister, but then also joking, like I think we're in hell. Like we're in hell.
Yeah.
It's just terrible.
Yeah.
And not just our stories.
No.
But our stories, it's going to happen to someone today, somewhere.
Yeah.
Like it's just, and then you get on that snowball of, like this is hell.
Yeah. What if we're living in hell, but we're making the best of it? And then when we go to heaven, it's like fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
I don't, not that I've just had that thought, that's kind of like, I could get behind that.
I know,
Like,
me too. I was like, am I literally going crazy right now? I think I was in the car with my friend Anna, and I was like, what if we're actually living in hell right now? Like, what if this is hell?
Like, if you gave me 20 chips to gamble with, like, I'd put, like, half of them on that. Like, this is hell.
Yeah.
And then maybe 5 chips. I'm like, okay, there's heaven after this. And then 5 more chips. I'm like, this is it. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's where I'm at. But, like,
that's okay.
But some days I'm like, this is hell. And do you ever just laugh?
Yeah.
Like, you just chuckle, like, this is so fucked up. Mm-hmm. How did we get here? How is this our lives now?
And then everybody's looking at you like, why are you laughing?
Like,
I don't even know, but just let me have it. It's fine.
Yeah. Wrapping up here. I usually end. Are you a movie person?
I like heist movies.
Oh, like bank robbing movies.
Yeah.
Hold on though. Before we get to movies, I wrote down some questions that I'm like, make sure.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say you had questions.
Yeah, I haven't gotten to any of them. Well, kind of. Ooh, okay. How much shock would you say you're still in? And I know that's a tough question because some days it might be a lot and some days it's not. But like, good luck answering. But how much shock?
Good luck answering.
Because no, like, and I asked you which is worse, year 1 or year 2? I think year 1 is full of shock, and then the shock kind of wears off a little bit. Yeah. And I'm just curious because I still think I have some. I'm just shocked, and people ask me like, how are you able to do that? I'm like, I'm not, or I'm trying to figure it out. I don't have any answers really.
Oh, that's a really good question.
It's such a weird question.
Like, it is odd because, like,
I want to say I'm in a lot of shock, but then also not in shock. Right. I don't know what to say.
I totally understand. Like, they're gone. They're not coming back. But then it's weird. Some days I'm like, it feels like they were never even mine.
Yeah, I've had that too.
Like, because
and like nothing's mine. Nothing's actually ours.
No, we got to enjoy it.
Yeah.
For the time we got to. And
it's totally changed my relationship with Blue now and how I'm a father to him and raise him. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, he's actually not, I don't own him. He's not mine.
Right.
I just get to be his dad and teach him cool stuff. But like, I'm not going to force him into basketball. I'm not going to force, I'm like, it totally changed my relationship with Blue. Mm-hmm. I think I am a better parent because of that.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like less is more, almost. Like, let them kind of do their thing, and then if they really mess up, then you can kind of keep them in bounds. But other than that, like, they're a human, man.
Yeah. No, I'm that way with Brysen, too. Like, I don't know, before he did, like, BMX, he did soccer. Like, Mike had gotten him into soccer. And he recently decided he wants to try tackle football. And BMX wasn't the same with me helping him and other people helping him as his dad. So he didn't want to do that. And I was okay with it. Like, for one, we have more free time to just go do fun stuff.
Yeah.
But then for two, like, it was, I want to say a couple weeks ago, we're sitting at dinner and he started crying and he's like, Mom, I don't enjoy soccer anymore, but Dad put me in it and so I don't want to quit. And I was like,
Man, such good communication.
Oh, we always talk about everything. I cry in front of him all the time.
From a kid, like, wow, like, that's really impressive, actually.
That's awesome. Like, his emotional intelligence is there. But I was like, you know what? You have to do what makes you happy. You can't do what makes other people happy. You have to do what makes your heart happy. And he's like, are you sure Dad would think that? And I was like, 100%. And I feel like that's a huge life lesson to learn now. I mean, I'm going to keep reinforcing that as he gets older. But he felt good about being able to choose what makes him happy and not please others.
Sleeping, waking up.
Some nights are great, and then some nights, either I can't go to sleep, like I'm up forever, and then there are nights where I like just wake up every hour and turn on some Impractical Jokers.
No, seriously, like, I can actually fall asleep okay, but if I wake up, and it could be 3 a.m., 2 a.m., if I wake up, I'm up.
Grow up. Yeah, grow up.
But like, sleeping's gotten better for me, but nighttime and waking up were the worst times for, like, I don't even know how long, but a good stretch there, like, those moments were very hard for me. And I'd just wake up crying. Yeah. And then wake up kind of numb. And do you ever feel like you're just kind of out of tears some weeks?
Yeah.
Like, I haven't cried this week. And I think some of it is not, I have cried this week. I'm just, like, as an example.
Yeah.
But, like, I think sometimes I hit a phase of grief where, like, just kind of shut down with crying. I, like, can't cry. And I remember feeling bad once that I couldn't cry.
It's okay.
Like, I'm thinking about him, but I'm not crying. Then I feel bad for not crying. Like, why don't I feel like...
But then you feel terrible when you are crying. And it's like, oh, man. No,
Kuri is so fucked up, man.
It is. It's okay, though, to have all those feelings.
Okay, here's another question.
All right.
Well, we already kind of... Okay, acceptance. What's that like for you?
I mean, honestly, I'm still pissed off.
I was going to say something, but I don't want to keep going. What do you mean?
I just, like, obviously, there's nothing I can do to change it, so I have to accept the fact that this is how it is, but it still pisses me off a lot.
I think acceptance is like everything else we've been talking about. I think some days I'm really good at it.
Yeah.
And other days, I feel like the days I can't accept it. And I think what I mean by that is just really angry about it. Or just, those are bad days for me. And I get really agitated and irritated easily, and I notice it. So I'm getting better at it. But I think acceptance is like those emotions. It's just the roller coaster.
Well, and people are like, there's stages of grief. You're going to go through them all, and then it's done. And it's like, it's never done.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
just bounce back and forth with whatever season it is, whatever day it is. Like,
I used to think, like, oh, you reach acceptance, you accepted it.
Yeah,
like, you got a diploma. Like, you're a graduate forever. And like, no, not like you accepted it in this moment.
Yes.
But give me 3 hours or 3 days, like, it's going to be
3 minutes.
3 minutes, it's going to be different.
Yeah. There was also something, though, like, one of my biggest fears when I had my whole family was something happening to me and them having to live without me. That was one of
Especially
my biggest...
Brysen.
Yeah, it was one of my biggest fears, like, when I had them all.
Oh, really?
Yes. And so now I'm like, did I do this? Like, is something bad going to happen to me? And so this is protecting them from being without me? That's just a thought I've had.
That goes back to, like, if you think about it long enough, you find ways to make it your fault.
Yeah.
Because now you're talking about, thanks for being so brave to say that, because I've had thoughts like that too. And you kind of get this weird, like you manifested this almost.
Yes.
Like you manifested this.
Yeah. So now I'm like really careful about what I spend too much time thinking about.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. I do that too.
But
then there's another part of like, no, like that's just fucking bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah. You never know.
You never know.
You just don't.
Damn. That's so funny. That's not funny or great at all, but I'm glad that you said that because I have those too. Okay. What do you think Mike wants you to do? I think that's a lame question. I think we already got to the bottom of that one.
Yeah, I mean, he would want me. I think I would want him to do the same thing he would want me to do, is to be happy and to live life and help Brysen keep creating memories.
That's my perspective with Courtney. Is I have a lot of guilt about dating again and being in a relationship again. But then I'm like, no, like that's what I'd want Courtney to do.
Yeah,
I just want her to be happy.
Yeah.
Please, like that sounds awesome. Like if I knew Courtney was happy, that'd be so awesome.
Yeah. There are things like, I don't know, there's times I do things and I'm like, I just feel like Mike would be smiling and be like, hell yeah.
You get that?
You did that.
You get that with your kids too? Like Owen and...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially Kinlee, like, she was like her own being. Like, she was kind to the kids that didn't have friends. She wore the most crazy outfits because they made her feel good.
Yeah.
She'd wear lipstick because Mimi, my mom, Mimi would love lipstick, like loved it.
And she was little mama to Owen.
Oh, she was so good. I actually had a dream. Like, it was, I want to say this year, so it was like past the year mark. I hadn't dreamt about Kinlee or Owen. And I was like, I just want to see them. Like, please just let me dream about them. And I got to dream about them one night. And as soon as I woke up, like, I texted it to a friend because I was like, I'll forget it if I don't write it down right when I wake up. Mm-hmm. And the gist of it is, like, Kinlee and Owen were hurt. And God was like, they have to come to heaven, but you can hang out with them until their bodies are ready. And so their legs and noses kept turning out like a shade of blue. And I'd keep warming them up because I just wanted to keep them longer. Mm-hmm. And then at one point, I realized, like, it was finally time for them to go. And Kinlee was just, like, so excited. She's like, Mom, I'm going to take care of Owen until we get to be together again, and it's going to be okay. And I was like, man.
That is so, wow.
It was something. And, like, I just held them as long as I could. And then she's like, okay, Mom, we're going to see you again. So, and she just went off with Owen, like, laughing. And
no way.
It was, I don't know, it helped.
So, like, when you wake up from, what's that like when you wake up?
I just cried.
I bet that'd be so hard.
Because I was, like, so happy and so sad all at the same time.
Yeah, I have a tough time dreaming. I've had some dreams with them. But usually, like, my dreams are just horrible. Like, things just getting smashed and killed. Like, not specifically them. But I did see Courtney once in a dream. This was like very soon after the accident. Mm-hmm. And she didn't say anything. I didn't say anything to her. I just saw her. And I woke, because I don't really dream at all. I think most of it is my marijuana. I smoke before I go to bed every night. Mm-hmm. And marijuana kind of makes it difficult to dream. And I don't know if I want to dream about him or not. I'm kind of like, I just like waking up from that.
Just talk to somebody about it as soon as you wake up.
Oh, I like that idea. Is that kind of what you've done?
Anytime I like have hard feelings, I'll just call anybody. Like, people will listen. You can call me if you want. Like, somebody outside of it all. It just lets you get it out, and they can just be there to listen. And you might want some feedback, but you also might just want to be able to talk. But it just helps to just not hold all that in. It's too much.
Top 3 favorite movies?
Con Air is my...
Wait, hold on. Are you good? Do you want to say anything else before we wrap this up?
No.
You were ready for Con Air. Is that,
that
with,
movie.
don't tell me his name, that actor. That's with, he's in Gone in 60 Seconds.
Yep.
Why can't I think of his name right now?
Rhymes with Smickleous.
All right, you got Con Air.
Okay, Con Air. Billy Madison.
Oh my God, is this your milk? This could be our milk.
No milk will ever be our milk.
Miss Lippy's car.
Is green.
Barely past the 4th grade. Oh, what a wonderful day. They love it. The crowd loves it. Billy Madison this kid can't even read. I'm just going off on Billy Madison quotes.
Oh, they're
now.
so good.
I love them. So good. That Veronica Vaughn.
Is one piece.
Who would eat 32 bags of lunches?
And they're back there like getting after it. And he's like, no yelling on the bus.
No yelling on the bus.
Chucks the food.
O'Doyle rules. Okay, so you got
Okay,
that's a
so
great
Con
one.
Air, Billy Madison. It's hard to pick.
You get your ass out there
And
and
you
find that fucking dog. Miss Lippy, the thing I don't get is he gave up looking. He just goes off. All right, I'm sorry. You have one more movie.
I do. I really like Super Troopers.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Second one, I don't know. It was all right.
The second, most movies that have a second one, the second one's not as good.
Yeah.
That's just how movies work, I
Yeah.
guess. But that's a good top 3.
What are yours?
Oh, man, I love The Big Lebowski.
That's good.
I've been going through the Coen Brothers movies again. So like, A Most Serious Man. Those movies I love. Comedies though, I watched The Hangover the other night. I haven't
For the first time?
No.
Oh, I was like, what?
Not for the first time, but the first time in a while.
Yeah.
And that one,
That's
I
funny.
forgot how funny that one was.
It is funny.
So I'll throw The Hangover in there as well. Thanks again. I hope we stay in touch. I think your story is going to help a lot of people. I'm so sorry for what you've been through. Your 10% is brutal. But I do think like the darker, the worse your 10%.
The stronger your 90%.
I think there's something to that effect.
Yeah.
And I think your 90% is something, if no one else, but like for me, like I blown away with how well you're doing and makes me feel like, okay, it's possible to be
got
doing
this.
better.
I got
We can do better. Like, yeah. So thanks for helping me out and Blue, and life's 10% what happens to you and 90% what you're going to do about it.